Welcome back, everybody, to another episode on Theology Unfiltered. If this is your first time here on the channel, welcome. So glad you're here. My name is Layton Simmons. I'm the owner of the channel. And this is actually the first video where we actually have a guest on video call. So this will be a first time for us, which I'll just kick it right to you, sir, that I have no idea what your name is.
Who, me?
Yeah. What's your name? Where are you
My
from?
name, my name is Ryan Massey. I grew up in St. Louis for about like 16 years almost. And then I had my 17th birthday actually when I moved here in 2024. Lived here since, living in here in Navarre. And trying to remember. Trying to remember what I was thinking to include
Oh, how long have you been a
in my
follower?
introduction.
How about this?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
how
there it
long have you
is.
been a follower?
Grew up in the church like my whole life. But like when I really first like dove in was ah, it's a blurry time, but like the beginning of 24, late 23 was whenever I first like woke up basically and like dove into it with my whole self and wasn't just like, the idea it floats back there whenever you're a kid growing up because you're used to it. It's
Yeah,
rhythm, it's instinct basically. It doesn't feel like it's your relation like my relationship with God really began like the end of 23, beginning of
yeah,
2024. So yeah,
yeah, man. All right.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we can act like we're strangers and I've only known you for X amount of time, but I mean, me and Ryan's parents actually planted a church back in Missouri, where we're both from. For those of you who didn't know on the channel, I'm originally from same area that Ryan is from in around St. Louis, and yeah, so I mean, I'm older than you, so I mean, I've known you since you were a kid, you and your brother, and so
Yeah, dude. I mean, I can't remember a time. I mean, by the time I was old enough to even comprehend, I already knew you guys' names and your last name, especially with your dad being involved with the church and your mom, all that stuff. So,
right. And I
oh
mean,
yeah,
same thing for me. We would always talk about your dad. Your dad was just always this rock star when he was on the worship team, and I still to this day love to watch your dad because he's like Christian Lincoln Park. I love it. It's sick.
he's definitely adopted and taken like 80s like rock and roll as his what you call it, his look, I guess we'll say, for lack of better words.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He loves that stuff.
Yeah, and all the time I've known your dad, his look has never really changed. It's just
No.
always been that, and I'm just all right. It works though.
Yep.
It works.
It does.
Well, enough about family history. We got a fun topic. Maybe not fun. Fun's probably maybe not the right word.
It can be
But
fun.
yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
We're talking about
It'll be
Jesus.
fun.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
But
Always.
something that you brought up, which is church hurt. So just
Mm.
before we really get into that, like what was like on your heart whenever you brought up the idea? Like what kind of like brought it to fruition?
Honestly, it's weird because like growing up, like we were always in the church, and like anytime we like left the church, it was because we were leaving to plant another one or to go replant another one, stuff like that. And so like um as of like these last 2-ish years is the first time we ever came to a church that we weren't planting or replanting or like
Hmm.
weren't coming out of the previous family of what that church was. So like
Yeah.
church back home came out of our family of the church into build a new one and build a new family and like a new church location that was like a branch out like to meet more people and like reach people and stuff like that. And it's like this was the first time we ever moved to a whole new location. We've always lived like in the St. Louis area, but then we moved all the way down here to Navarre. And first time we ever like went to another church. And I guess I wouldn't really say like I got church hurt, but there were definitely some like relational stuff that kind of hit me differently. And like what this time around kind of sparked that idea in my brain is like growing up, like I always had church hurt from like friends or people, whatever, coming out of like leaving a church the dynamic of friendships can change because you're not doing life with each other all the time, seeing each other on Sundays anymore. So like losing friendships where I'm like so young that it doesn't really track. But even like my family and some of my other friends who have gotten church hurt and like are like, I don't really know how I feel about this
Hmm.
church thing anymore and stuff like that. And like I've obviously never been there because like I grew up in the church, so that's all I know. And so like it's just weird to think of, and I don't know if it was a reel or what I saw the other day, but there was like a guy talking about like making fun of some people who say they got church hurt so they don't go anymore. It's like, well, I got hurt at a grocery store, so now I'm not going to grocery stores anymore. Like you can't not go to a grocery store. It has the things you need. You can't stop going to hospital because you got
Right.
hurt there. Like you have to keep going to the hospital one day eventually because you're not going to have the surgeon at home to fix an issue
Right.
basically.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
and so, and he was kind of like talking on that topic, and my mom kind of brought that up the other day of like, no matter like really what's been thrown at me or our family or you or whatever, like it still doesn't seem to shake the foundation of what we believe in. And like we just have realized like it's not usually the church as a whole, it's some of the people that are there that are broken. We're all broken and stuff like that. And so I guess my main idea behind it is like I feel like I've had a like fair share of what church hurt would be to a lot of other people, and
Hmm.
the acknowledgement of like the church doesn't typically hurt people. It's the people who go to the same church that hurt you,
Right.
basically, that kind of thing.
Right. Like it's
So
Jesus isn't attacking you to harm
exactly,
you.
yeah.
And I think that's something that like a lot of people can get, like people who get church hurt and then they
Hmm.
never come back. It's they take out, they think it's like, oh well, God hurt me. It's like, no,
Yeah.
the people in the church who are still human, imperfect, they're sinners. Like
Hmm.
something that I've never understood is that, like, don't get me wrong, when you're in church leadership, like you are called to a higher standard. It's very clear of that in Timothy.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, that pastor on the stage, he's still a sinner. He still needs God just as much as we do.
Hmm.
So it's like there's not, like there has to be that grace there where it's like that's not the heart that God has for me. Because there have been
Absolutely.
plenty of people who, I mean, I wouldn't even say it's church hurt, but like there was a time, probably something like 3 years ago, one of my closest buddies at the time actually started a rumor about me that was like really off the wall. Um, and it was actually it was one of those things, like I've never been like really concerned about rumors because it's a rumor. It's not like somebody's making a claim. It's just kind of like this kind of thing's just like going around. And if somebody were to come up to me and ask me, I would just tell them. But
Exactly. Yeah.
it would just kept going around me, and it was on a subject that I was also kind of pretty passionate about at the time.
Yeah.
And then it got back to me where it had started inside of our youth group at the time actually. And me and this guy, we went to youth together, and me and him worked at the same place. I actually helped him get the job where we worked, and then it got brought up at work. Somebody approached me about it, and I was like, okay, this has went from small, not small, but like youth with a bunch of high
Yeah.
schoolers to where they're now like grown adults and people that I work with coming up to me about this topic, and it's like that's not me whatsoever. So where did that come from? And so
Yeah.
me and him, we had a probably about 6 8 month span where like we didn't speak at all. Um, which I had pride in the situation. He had pride. I should have approached him about it. He should have approached me. It's like neither of us were wanting to budge on it. So there was fault on both sides on that subject. But when he approached me and he apologized, so I give him full credit for that. Like he approached me because my pride at the time, I wasn't going to approach him. Once he did that, we were good. Because
Yeah.
after that, I was just like, you know what? That was X amount of time ago. At this point, I was just looking for you to say you're sorry. which not right for me in that. But at the end of the day, like God didn't put on him to start a rumor about me. Like that's not the heart of a
Yeah.
father at all. Um, in fact, the father of lies is literally Satan. That's what they refer
Hmm.
to him in the Bible as. So it's like that's clearly not from Jesus. So yeah, but keep going. You had a great train of thought going. Sorry.
No, I think a lot of what you said actually gave me a couple of different things I was thinking on of like one thing that I've had to say a couple times this year to like reassure myself of like situations like God is not the author of confusion. And so
Yep.
like he's not gonna throw something crazy at you out of the blue, like that you don't know how to deal with, kind of thing. Like he might, but like the context of God allows things to happen for sure. But like
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a situation where that would actually, like for me losing all these friends or whatever, like this is the second time in my life I've lost multiple people at one time out of a church thing that I was involved in. And the first time I was super confused. I didn't understand it. It took me so long to get there to realize. But I also back then was not in my wording connected with my relationship with God the way that I should have been. And so like this time around, I'm like, I see this for exactly how it is. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not confused anymore. Like so I believe like back then when I was confused, I was not in alignment with what God was wanting me to actually see with him. I was confused and in my own world trying to do it my way basically. And so like this time I'm just like I'm doing my thing and I'm going to keep listening to what God's wanting me to do. And those relationships were not like getting me further into what God's wanting me to do. They were like just kind of friends that I was hanging out with that were at my church, and I did life with them because I was going to the same church and stuff like that. And I had a couple of buddies that unfortunately like I'm not close with anymore because of some of those things. And so like having to understand like that God does things for a reason and protects people and stuff like that. And a friend of mine actually talked about um how like there were several situations where they were having to leave a group of people or friends or family, and it was like why does this keep happening? It's like by the third or fourth time it's like they realize God is building you up to recognize these things so that when it happens again you can take people out of things and like
Mm-hmm.
you make your own friends and family in there that need to hear what you've said and things before, whereas like if you're leaving because somebody did something or said something crazy because people were broken, like, and now you have your family of people who, not because you're trying to be like, oh, I'm taking them with me, but in a way of like, they on their own now know these kind of things going on and they know the story, they know the family, they have like the actual connection to the equity, relational equity to be like, yeah, actually, I'm gonna rock with these guys, that kind of thing. That's not always happened for like our family, but like there's been a couple times where like I'm actually so grateful that your family, or I'm so grateful that you, my other friend, or whatever, like I'm so grateful that me and you were close because I think that without our relationship, I would have either A, never came to like do this on my own this time around and actually take this seriously, or like you help me to see things clearer and stuff like that that I didn't realize I didn't see. Because like you still need people, you still need community, you still need family. Like that's
Right.
in scripture. And so like anybody can say they're a Christian or whatever and read their Bible, but like it's also in God's design to be having a family and a church family and stuff that's not just your blood that gave birth to you and your brothers who were born in the same house, that
Right.
kind of thing. And so like that whole topic and then like kind of tie into what you said about one of your buddies or whatever that was saying all that stuff. Like I posted a thing on social media the other day talking about like love and what I grew up thinking that it was and what I've been told by songs, by people, movies, culture, whatever. And like my part of the message in there was like I've had three people who I thought were my closest brothers, my best of best friends, whatever. And like throughout my whole life, I can think of three that have been so close to me that I would call them my brothers. And even them who we had traumatic bonds and stuff coming out of hard situations or whatever, or like times where they were having a really hard time and I was able to be there for them and stuff
Mhm.
like that, like, even those moments weren't enough to keep us together forever, like, as brothers, like,
Yeah.
as poetic as it may sound, if that sounds kinda cheesy, but, like, still having to let go of relationships because people are broken and we say and do broken things, and sometimes those people are to teach you something, or maybe it doesn't actually end badly and it's just like, "Hey, we kinda have different paths right now, and I don't think that we can really, like, keep going out of my way to spend time with you whenever you're kinda doing your own thing right now, and it's not good for me." And I've
Yeah.
had to
No,
have a couple of those
absolutely.
conversations for sure of like, "Hey, like, right now, I think that there's not much else I can do or add to your situation to make things better that I haven't already said." And so, like, needing to take a step back of, like, kinda need my space right now because I don't think that me and you spending time together is good for me, or, stuff of that nature.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. There was a point in my life, my best friend to this day, his name's Mason Jordan, and
mm,
Mason, if you're watching this, shout out. But he he at a point in my life where I came out of high school, didn't really know what was going on. I'm the oldest brother. You know this. You're the oldest brother.
yeah.
He was the older brother to me that I never had.
Mm,
So he taught me a lot about, and it's weird to say this because my dad did this too, but like about being a man and like walking as a young man, um, how you carry yourself, the way you talk to people. Um, and he was like in my corner no matter what. And some of the worst fights that I've had with people in general, I've had with him. And the reason that I would say that like he's like a brother, like what you're talking about, is we would always come back from those. And
mm,
there were times where like I was severely ticked off with him, and there were some times he was severely ticked off with me. And but we would come to each other and be like, "Hey, get your head out your butt." And there was a point where I kind of like grew out of like the activities and whatnot that we were doing, and I kind of
yeah.
like distanced myself from him
Mm,
a little bit, and never stopped being his friend. Like if he needed something, I was there. No question about that. I was always going to show up for him because he always showed up for me because that's what brothers do.
yeah.
And but there was a point where I was like, hey man, we gotta stop doing some of this. Like I'm not feeling it. And when I actually had that conversation, we came to an agreement that was like, yeah, we do need to stop doing this. And so I was like, all right, cool. And we were good. But it was really uncomfortable because what was funny is that he was thinking the same thing I was, and I was thinking the same thing he was, but neither of us wanted to have the conversation because we didn't know where the other
Mm,
stood. And then we had the conversation, and it
that's
was
good.
like, oh, you're actually on the same page as me.
Yeah.
And so we there's just some people, every person is in your life for a season, and seasons can be really long. Like in marriage, that's a really long season. That's till death do you part. That's biblical. But then there's some friends who they're just there for a moment. But at the end of the day, and I talked about this in my last video, but you can always learn from the negative and the positive. So you can
Definitely.
either learn what to do or what not to do. And
Mm,
sometimes people that are in your life that maybe they are annoying or whatever the case might be, or maybe they did hurt you. Okay, God, what are you trying to teach me in this?
mm,
What is the point of this? Because it says in the Bible, nothing's wasted. If he
that's
can
good.
make beauty from ashes, he can. There's something that you can get out of it, and sometimes it you may not figure it out for years, um, or it may come to you like the day of or a couple weeks later. I don't know. That's all God's timing, and you also have to be sensitive to the spirit in that sense. But you can always learn something out of every situation, every person, every season of your life. There's something that God's always trying to teach you. There's always
Mm.
an area that you can be growing in. I'm a very firm believer of if you're not growing, you're shrinking. It's kind of
Oh,
dude.
say that again.
I'm telling you, like, and it's funny because I get that from my background, like being in personal training and whatnot. there's when people say they want to maintain like say body composition, for example, it doesn't actually exist. There is
Mm,
no actual state in the human body where you are just straight up maintaining and nothing is gaining or losing. You're always constantly gaining or constantly losing. So if you're not growing, you're shrinking.
that's good.
And that's, I think that applies to Bible really well. If you're not doing something to grow in your faith, to grow in your spirit, to walk in what God has had you to, and like diving in head first in that, and that's even in church hurt, like you're probably shrinking, and that's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
And that's my personal conviction. I'm not saying it's biblical. There's not. I don't think there's a Bible verse that backs it up. If there is, email that to me. But
Yeah.
that's just me. But what's your thoughts?
Well, I think, yeah, definitely on the church thing of like, I think that there are definitely seasons and even people in situations where you either need to take like a break or what, like if you're struggling and you need like time to think before you do something, like I think that there's definitely like a time where you should do that thing, but still coming back after you've taken your time to heal or to process or think of what you need to say to this person, like
Mm-hmm.
there is time to take a break, but then there's also time to re-engage and to go back and do your thing. Even if, like, if I'm saying, like, if you're leaving church or you're leaving a friendship, like, reconciliation doesn't equal relationship. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
if you have an issue with somebody
Mm,
and having that
that's good.
conversation, like, having conversation, if it's appropriate, like, if it's a, I won't get into the details of that, but like, if it's an appropriate conversation to have, like, hey, you hurt me, and I just want you to know, like, I forgive you and like I'm ready to move on or whatever. But like moving on doesn't have to look like, okay, now let's be friends again. Like for me, there are several conversations I've had to have where I'm like, yeah, like if they came to me, I'm like, yeah, you did hurt me, but I forgive you. And it's like, I can't keep being friends with you though. Like I've already
Yeah,
seen,
there's 100%. There's some conversations where it's just like, hey, I'm glad we're cool now, but
yeah,
you're not
it's
back in my
like,
life.
yeah, it's like there's a difference between grace and, um, like giving yourself to somebody. Like you should always be giving grace, but like that doesn't equal like ability. You don't get to have access to me though,
Right,
like the
absolutely.
same way anymore because of how you treated me or because of how you've treated me several times or how you've treated like there's still like things not holding grudges, but there's still wisdom of like you're doing this so you're not going to have access to all of me, that kind of thing. And like there's a difference between grace and enabling behavior. Like
Hmm.
if you're enabling something sinful or enabling bad behaviors like in your relationship with somebody, like you either need to address it or both of you are off. Like somebody
Yeah.
needs to be making a change. And I like what you said about like going back to have conversations and like being something I like kind of heard in what you were saying was like being open minded to hearing the hard thing or receiving, or
Hmm.
even you said taking a break from somebody and then you reconnected later. Like um something I've told my parents and like my brother and stuff like that is like there's one particular relationship with one of those guys who I thought was like gonna be a lifelong best friend. Not that we spent all of our time together, but like I knew him since I was in like early elementary school. And
Yeah.
like he really hurt me in a lot of ways, but I like still pray to this day that one day he'll be able to come to me and be like, hey, like I messed up and I'm really sorry. And then I can just with open arms like I love you and thank you for coming back to me. And obviously that relationship would look different, but like still in my like I still pray that one day he'll come to me and then I'm able to like communicate with him because I'm not gonna just reach out and be like, hey, by the way, I forgive you and I love you, blah blah blah. Like it just
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
kind of
like I've already forgiven in my heart and brain and like am ready to reconcile for lack of better word, like to re-engage or whatever, like in what happened to like settle the dust basically. But like I'm letting God kind of deal with him on his own because from what I know, he's still kind of being a turd. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah. No,
So
I think there's something you said right there. So like it's like you don't give them a piece of yourself again. So like it says in Bible, uh, like Jesus says, turn the other cheek,
Mm.
right? So
Walk the extra mile.
right, if they ask you to walk a mile, go two.
Hmm.
So, but with the turn the other cheek thing, I used to always hear that as a kid, and I was like, don't ever throw a punch back, don't ever do that. And it wasn't until I was probably like 17 in a small group at youth that one of my leaders, no, I wasn't at youth. My mom broke this down for me. It's not you're letting them hit you again. It's they have wronged you, but give them the opportunity to do right by you.
Mm.
So
Kind of
like
like give them the opportunity to either do it again or don't.
right,
Is that what you're
right.
saying?
I'm not
Yeah.
like don't just take punches. Don't be a doormat.
Yeah.
That because that's
Yeah.
not biblical.
Here's this one. Here's this one. Oh, here's this one again. Oh,
Yeah,
here's
no,
this one again. Yeah.
absolutely not. So like I mean like look at Jesus. Like Jesus went into the temple and like flipped tables. Like
Mm.
Jesus wasn't like all peaceful. Like I
You can
think
just
that a
give
lot
everybody hugs and
right,
like
which I
let
think that
things
so
go.
many people get
Yeah.
that mixed up. It's like Jesus was a man, dude. Like he
Yeah.
stood on business. Like
Yeah.
you are not going to desecrate my father's house. He starts flipping tables and chasing people out with a whip. Like everybody wants so many people think that if you're a Christian, you're always supposed to be peaceful, you're supposed to be loving and just like all hugs, kisses, rainbows and whatnot. Rainbows is in the promises of God, not alphabet mafia. But like with that being said, you can laugh at that. It's okay. I'm holding it. But
I'm chilling.
but the principle is like you give them at least give them the second chance. Give
Yeah.
them the opportunity to do right by you. And if they don't, just walk away. Just walk away from
Mm.
it. But
Yeah.
however, at least you can say you gave them the opportunity to do that. So like especially like when it comes to like church hurt, it's like okay, one person wronged you on a Sunday morning. Okay, that's not right. Shouldn't have happened.
Hmm.
However, don't close off your heart and like close off yourself from the church because of one person.
Hmm.
Don't do that.
Hardening your heart.
Exactly. So it's like give the church and give the place an opportunity to do right by you, to love on you, to care for
Mm.
you, and whatnot. Because there's been plenty of people where it's like, oh well, this person said this to me on a Sunday morning. I'm just like, okay, were they having a rough morning? Like, were they what? There's so many things that could have factored into that. Because like I'm like you can probably like, and this is like personal, like story kind of thing. Like you can probably relate to this where it's like if your parents have had a stressful day and it feels like nothing's going right, they might because they're not perfect.
Yeah.
They might kind of start to take it out on you. And like, is that right? No, I'm not saying that's right. However, like, there's this. I think it was Greg Rochelle that said it, but it's get think of can't remember how he phrased it, but essentially, like an example of it is it's like, oh, someone like cuts you off in traffic, or they speed around you, or they break the law. It's like, oh, well, maybe they're trying to get to the hospital, and their loved one's about to pass away and go to be with the father. Like
Hmm.
think of like the worst, like what is their reasoning for it? I don't want to say think of like the worst case scenario, but in a way think of the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Like if somebody, like for prime example, like in my relationship, like you know I'm dating Grace obviously. um if she's having a rough day and whatnot, and it's like I've done nothing and I've done nothing wrong, it's like okay, what, I'm not just gonna immediately assume that she has a problem with me, but
Yeah.
like maybe she's just got some like pent up frustration, and right now she's kind of taking it out on me.
Yeah.
Is that right? No, I'm not saying it's right. However, there needs to be the, no pun intended, the grace of let them process it, and then I would say even after that, like I would communicate with them, just be like, hey, I didn't appreciate you taking that out on me that way
Mm.
because at the end of the day, I didn't do anything wrong. I
Yeah.
haven't done anything, so I didn't deserve that. And so like there has to be that healthy communication there. Well, but that's just like within like relationships kind of
Well,
thing.
yeah, because I mean, I've even been a fault of that too, where like there were several times because the drive to and from work was an hour there and then an hour back. And if
Hmm.
I didn't leave work by a certain time, like after work, I was in traffic for probably 2.5 hours, like
Ooh,
sometimes three. And so like
hard
I
pass.
would be on a rush to get home so that I could skip the spots that I know get the worst and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so like by the time I get home after being in a car for 2.5 hours and my AC was broken for a long time, there were several times where I got home, my patience was like 2%. And
Yep.
then the first thing I hear when I walk in is like, hey, do them dishes. I'm like, I have to like swallow every ounce of frustration in that moment to not just like be sarcastic or be um, have a bad tone or bad attitude or whatever. Like
Yeah.
where I'm like, okay, I just got home from very annoying, and I get pretty frustrated in traffic. I don't have like road rage, but like people who don't know how to drive straight, I'm like, guys, come on. And like by the time I get home after that for 2.5 hours, I'm like, if one more person tells me what I need to be doing right now when I just need to come home and decompress, I'm gonna flip my lid. Like that kind of stuff. There were several times where I'd have an attitude or whatever with my mom or Ryder or something where I just wasn't being very nice. And they're like, hey, you're kind of being a bully right now. I'm like, you're right. I'm sorry. And then like have to come back and apologize later, stuff like that. And so,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
yeah,
absolutely. I mean, there's been
checking yourself.
yeah, yeah, dude. It's
Yeah.
like check yourself. Always check yourself. It's like, okay,
Hmm.
am I actually mad at this person
No.
or am I
Yeah.
taking it out on them?
Hmm.
And not every time, but like a good chunk of the time, I would say like because we're human, like we make mistakes, like we're not actually mad at them. We're mad at this thing that happened 2 hours ago or something.
Hmm.
Which like I think that could be like such a powerful thing to clarify with like a lot of relationships in general. Like and especially like with like people who um like maybe who like got church hurt years ago kind of thing. And it's like and this it goes like with all relationships in general. It's like, oh, this thing they're taking this out on me or they're this
Hmm.
way towards me when
Yeah.
it's like they're not mad at you, they're not frustrated at you, they're not anything towards you. They're mad at something somebody said 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
definitely. I actually like what you said there, which actually reminds me of like the concept that I think my dad said it or somebody said it, and like the concept of going through hard things or things after years and things start to rhyme with things that happened a long time ago. Like I've had that a
mm,
few times over the last year where I'm like, especially around like winter time, there are definitely like seasons where I had a really hard time for like years in a row around Christmas time that like now every time around Christmas I'm having to like not necessarily heal because I feel like that's a little over the top, a little dramatic, but like where I'm having to like kind of un unlearn, for lack of better words, like what I used to think about Christmas. Not necessarily like Jesus, that not that side of Christmas, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get what you're
like
saying. Like
there's the
Santa Claus
emotions
and
of
the
Christmas,
yeah.
like the emotions of the excitement of Christmas. I'm like, yeah, like I love Christmas for sure, but like for me, my like middle teenage years of like 14 through 16 was just like really hard around those times for me that I
Hmm.
was like after last year, the year before, and even upcoming this year, I'm like still coming down off of like what I my brain was trained for such a few years, like to be processing all of those emotions of excitement, but also like those exciting moments are linked with memories and things that happened then that like they rhyme the same, but I don't know why. And
Hmm.
like even sometimes during like the fall or summer, like I'll get a certain emotion because of the way the air, the something smells or looks that I'm like, this is tied to something I'm not really sure what it is. And then I'll have to like, I'll sit on it and I'll pray through it and be like, okay, what is this? And like realize this was actually one of those times where
Mhm.
you were being disobedient to your parents. And then like I'll even go to them and be like, hey, like this is this thing I actually just remembered from forever ago that like I did or thought or whatever that like I just want to tell you guys like how much I love you and thank you for giving me a safe space. Like whenever I was throwing my life up into shambles, but like you guys still took me in like emotionally and comforted me throughout those things.
Yeah.
And so like having the brain open to or the heart, whatever, like open to like stuff does rhyme with other things. And so like sometimes you have to rekindle or reopen up, not necessarily open up wounds again, but like kind of address something that happened that maybe you just stepped over or you kind of hid in your pocket or threw in the back of your closet that you're now having to like clean the closet again. You're like, oh wait, I totally forgot I even had
Yeah.
that. And like I never dealt with it the right way. And like going through freedom and stuff like that, like those classes or whatever,
Hmm.
um, like there were things that did come up that I was like, this is weird. Like I thought I was kind of done with this, but then like kind of get reminded of something or whatever where I'm like having to go back and be like, oh, actually I kind of was in the wrong on this and I don't know why I thought that I wasn't. Where then you think about you're like, well, think about what you were doing, where you were back then, and think about how you can be better now in this situation than you did treat it the last time. And um I had an example, but I'm losing it. Uh oh, the second guy out of the three of like the three best like buddies I have is like there is a second one where like meeting one of my other best friends as of recently, like they were very similar in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
And so like there was a lot of reservations I had about them at first. And
You're
I'm
just
like, I
like,
have a really hard time getting close to you because you remind me a lot of somebody else who hurt me in the past. And like at this point now, I'm like, dude decided to show up and be like, hey, actually, I'm really sorry for kind of ghosting you and cutting you off. And like, I don't like saying like I didn't want to be a part of your life. Like if he came back and was like, hey, actually, I'm really sorry for what I did. Like what he did wasn't so detrimental that it was like you stabbed my back. It was kind of like you kind of dipped and that sucked. But like I'd also be like, all right, when can we hang out? Like
yeah.
that kind of thing where it's like kind of like I said before, like reconciliation doesn't always equal relationship or
Hmm.
even at the bare minimum, like maybe it does equal relationship, but it just looks different. And so, yeah.
Yeah. I think you said something right there that kind of like made me think of something. So like when it comes to like people who like maybe are church hurt or like have a hardened heart
Hmm.
towards say God in general. So like I just like thought of this, but like there's so much stuff that like science can back up when it comes to like
Yeah.
certain things.
Yeah.
So like if somebody had like a really horrible father figure growing up, if when they hear God the Father, they may not have a great reaction to that because the
Absolutely.
only thing they know to be a dad sucks. So
Yeah.
it's like, but that's not actually like that. Obviously, that's not what God is. That's not the way God designed it or
Yeah.
anything of that nature, and that's not God's heart. But like another, a huge one in today's culture is the term submission. Like when
Mm.
you hear that in like marriage context, it's
Yep.
like, oh, the wife submits to the husband. Well, in today's culture, that's like, oh, the man is domineering the wife and all this other stuff. And it's like, no, that's actually not at all what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, for one thing, it's Eve was made from the rib of Adam, right?
Hmm.
So when a woman comes next to a man and submits herself to the man, it's like he's getting his rib back, which the rib is not just under him and under his arm, so it's a little bit protected, but also it's close to his heart and it's meant to protect his heart.
Mm.
So like there's so much like theology that's like packed in there when you look at it, but like that's just like a small example as to like the way that the world works. It
Yeah.
reworks like our psychiatry, psychology into
Hmm.
thinking like this word is actually tied to this, when actually like that's not at all what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I was actually just talking to a friend the other day about like how there are a ton of Christians in the world who like have a hard time discerning science, real, like biblical, how science plays into the Bible versus the crazy science and stuff that actually is different. And like this might be a hot topic, but even like for me as a music guy, like frequencies are a real thing. Like frequencies and chords in music, like they affect your brain and your body in ways that like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
vibrate different in you that make you like music is designed to stir your emotions and like affections for things in your brain and all those things. Like nobody can deny that. But like even like the frequencies and like of how the music affects you, like does actually affect you. It's not some witchcraft, like whatever.
No,
It's no
absolutely.
different
Like
than
I'm a
glass. Like,
I've never heard that, quite frankly, in my life. I've never heard
yeah,
that. However, I don't think that that's a crazy take, because
yeah,
Lucifer was the worship leader in heaven, and to this day he
yeah,
still loves music. So it's like
yeah,
to say that there's not power
yeah,
in all these like little things. Like I'm a very firm believer science backs up the Bible. Like
yeah.
it 100% does. Like there's a verse in, oh, I think it's in Psalm. I think it's in Psalm. That could be completely wrong. I'm not quite sure where this verse is, but it says all things in creation are held together through Christ Jesus. And if you look at the protein, and I cannot remember the name of it to save my life right now, but when you look at the way the A chain and the B chain and then the D chain all intertwine, it looks like a cross under a microscope. Like it's a
Yeah.
fact.
There's a
And
lot of
so,
nature things like that where they actually align like super crazy the same. There's some kind of bone in the back of your head too that is like I don't remember what it is or what it does, but like there's a certain bone in your neck or your skull or something that like when you look at it, it looks like Jesus on the cross and like that maybe a coincidence or something, but it also like it's not crazy to throw it out the window that it
I've never thought about that. So I studied exercise science for 3 years before I changed started pursuing my degree in like ministry and whatnot. But
yeah,
so you saying that there's a bone, it's the axis and the axle, I think. Axis and the axle, I think that's what it is.
something like that.
But if I'm remembering its design correctly, if you look at it, there's a real on the back of one of them. There's like a ridge. So like it's a disc right in your neck,
Yeah.
and then there's like a ridge that pops up like this.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
this sits on it, it kind of comes across, and it might make a cross. If
I
I
think maybe that is what I was looking at. I
maybe
don't remember what it was, but like
that
there's
could
even
be
little things
completely
like that.
could be completely incorrect. However, if that is
Yeah.
completely incorrect, there's still thousands of things that back
Yeah.
up the Bible. There's thousands of things. So, like
Yeah.
in nature, I mean, like,
Yeah,
dude,
cuz
science
even
is so cool.
it's it's freaking insane and like I remember taking my psychology class like in high school, like there's so much I learned that like some of it I was like, all right, this is not biblically accurate, but there's also a lot that I'm like this actually kind of makes sense like and kind of aligns with a lot of like even like talking about music again, like if you were to go to sleep, like
Hmm.
you're not consciously listening to the music and you're thinking about it in the moment, but like I'm not going to challenge anybody to do this, but if you go to bed listening to straight trash or like stuff that's literally designed to reach the secular worldly type of
Yeah.
people like Playboy Cardi for example, like he's got all kinds of crazy stuff like that where it's just all dark and very like
Hmm.
disturbing. Like if you go to sleep listening to that stuff and wake up and like you're doing that on a regular, you're probably gonna feel like trash. Like, and you're probably
Yeah.
gonna feel and like it at first maybe it maybe you're into that kind of stuff and it like gets you certain way. You're like, I love the way the beats are, the music, whatever.
Mhm.
But like, without sounding like a crazy person, like even frequencies and all those different things still mess with your brain in a certain way, and the chords and like there was definitely times where I had fallen asleep listening to like sad music or whatever, and then I after a week of listening to this stuff, I just feel miserable all the time. Like I'm sad. Like my whole life is this whole heartbreak. Like I remember throughout middle school, as cheesy as this may sound, listening to all kinds of like sad music and like thinking I'm going through this heartbreak and like I'm this neglected child and like whatever, when I'm reality, like my life is actually pretty great. My parents love me. I have
Absolutely, dude.
going to church,
100%.
like have friends who love me. Like there's nothing for me to be sad about. Like I'm just literally filling my brain with people saying these things that are like filling in my thought blanks because I'm listening to
Mhm.
music. So like where my thoughts would actually be running is like this music is throwing words on these blanks as I'm sitting and thinking and processing that I'm like, you're not actually thinking for yourself anymore. Like now you've just got music that's flooding your brain with these thoughts and their emotions and their whatever. And with the music, all of it colliding together, it's like you're kind of setting yourself up for failure if you're just constantly taking that in all the time.
Right. So, like, something you just said right there, taking it in. So, everything that we see and hear, it's the Bible says is the number one commandment: love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and
Hmm.
body. Okay.
Yeah.
Mind can be actually exchanged for the word soul, depending on what translation you use. But heart, soul, body, right? What comes in here and comes in here goes straight to here,
And then
which means
whatever is
you
up here
are
is going to come out somewhere,
exactly you're
needs an outlet.
feeding your soul. This sounds like a
Hmm.
total conspiracy, but what you feed through your eyes and your ears, what you listen into, what you watch, you're
Yeah.
feeding your soul that, and it affects you.
Yeah.
Like that's why, like for those of you guys who don't know my testimony, like watching pornography, dude, it eats you alive. And it's like I've walked through that and it sucks. Like
Yeah.
like you do not feel good ever. You're depressed, you don't feel good. You feel like, as you say, trash. Like it's whatever comes in through here and here, it affects you. It does. And
Absolutely.
people don't
Yeah.
believe that, but it's true. Like don't get me wrong. Like there's still like secular content technically, because secular is anything that is not glorifying God, right? So Marvel movies, prime example.
Well, I
Well, maybe
actually
not
don't know
prime
what the
example.
word secular means. I think that there's actually a lot of like, this is just me personally. This is my own personal conviction is like, I do listen to like secular music that's rock and roll, all kinds of stuff like that. And,
Right.
but
Right.
like
Like
in,
Toby Keith even. Like that
yeah,
technically
like stuff like
qualifies as
that.
secular music, but like
Yeah.
I love Toby Keith. But like Marvel movies, for example,
Yeah.
I don't think that there's anything like wrong with watching a Marvel movie. I'm literally going to see Spider-Man Brand New Day tomorrow on opening
Bro,
day.
I cannot wait. My mom and brother are out of town, and I cannot wait for them to freaking get home so we can go see the
So
movie.
y'all can go see it. Dude, I'm
Like,
so
I
excited.
cannot wait.
Right. But anyways, like some certain things, and it's one of those things, it's this gets into kind of a gray area where you have to know yourself and you have to be sensitive to the spirit to
Mm,
hear your heart on the conviction of it.
yeah,
So like there's some
I've got a thought
things,
on that here in a minute.
yeah, absolutely. But like so like there's some things where it's like I don't even touch those things
Mm,
anymore. I won't go near
yeah,
it. So
that's
like for
good.
the like when I was going through when I say I was going through, like when I was still early years of working out, like years 1 through 5, I listened to Slipknot all the time because I
Yeah,
loved metal music.
yeah,
And to this day, I still love metal music. But there got to a point where there's some things in their songs where I'm just like, I'm not so sure about this. And
yeah,
then if it's one of those things like if I feel convicted about it, I'm good. I'm good. Like
yeah.
it's one of those things like I won't ingest it. However, I can. There's still like certain things where it's like I can appreciate where they have a gift that God gave them, and maybe it's not glorifying them, but
Mm,
it's like you can tell they have a God given talent on that.
yeah,
Like Corey Taylor, his vocal skills, as far as like, I'm not saying like he has like a beautiful like Whitney Houston voice or anything like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but to go from like the really like throat like gravel to like have like a really like authentic like nice like almost soft voice in some of his
Absolutely.
music, it's
Yeah.
like that's talent, and that's a
Yeah.
God-given talent. And I pray to, if the moment Corey Taylor drops a Christian album, I will be his number one listener on Spotify. I promise you, because I love the way he sings.
Yeah.
But his music doesn't glorify God, and so at the end of the day,
Mm.
it's just like this sucks. But you know what? I'm not. I'm not going to take part in it. I won't.
Yeah. My thought on that actually was this is a hot topic, okay? Might be a little what's the
I'm
word for
intrigued.
it?
I'm intrigued. This is literally the whole heart of the channel, is to talk about
Yeah.
stuff that might be like a hot topic for like Christians to talk about.
Yeah.
And I
So
love talking about this stuff. So,
my topic is Kanye West. Okay. So there was
okay.
somebody I saw the other day was a Christian, and he was like, as a Christian, should I be would it be okay if I went to go see Kanye? Now Kanye, not old Kanye. And it was like, well, here's the thing with it is like it's not you going, it's not spending the money to do whatever. It's if you got there and you felt convicted, would you have the strength to leave? That's what he said. And I was like, ooh, that's
I
kind of
literally have a
bars.
prime example of that. Okay. Do you know who Rob Zombie is, or
Yeah,
White Zombie? Okay.
definitely. Yeah,
Dude, me and my dad growing up, we always listened to Rob Zombie.
yeah,
And he was here for, in PCB, they have a thing called Bike Week.
yeah. I saw that. Yeah,
And so he was here. And my dad was he was doing a roof inspection for work, and
yeah.
he just got free tickets for the weekend. And I was
Ooh,
like, yeah,
he was playing with Marilyn Manson too, wasn't he?
I think Marilyn Manson was there too.
Yeah. Because
Um,
I looked, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. And I was like,
right. And so we get there, and it's like we're just gonna go, and we wanted to listen to like two songs that we just like
mm-hmm.
needed to hear. And we're there, and we're sitting in the crowd, and we're enjoying the show. Me and my dad are concert people, and we have a good time.
Yeah,
We're not in like a mosh pit, but like we kind of like stay farther back, but we enjoy the concert. And all of a sudden, there's like at first there's like this big alien, like almost like the dinosaur costumes. You know what I'm talking about? Like the inflatable
yeah,
suits. It's like one of those walks out on stage. I'm just like, well, whatever. Like, ooh, ET phone home. Like, I don't care. Whatever. I'm not worried about that.
yeah. Not even thinking twice about it. Yeah.
Right. Well, next thing we know, a devil walks
Oh,
out on stage in like one of those suits, and the crowd went nuts. And me and
mm,
my dad are like, we're just watching. Me and my dad didn't even look at each other at this point. We're just kind of watching and kind of like feeling out, like, okay, is this like, are we in danger, kind of thing?
yeah,
And so I'm like 18 at the time, and so I lean over to my dad. I'm just like, hey, I'm ready to go whenever you are. Because like my dad, he doesn't go to concerts as much anymore, and it's like if he wanted to stay and enjoy it, I would just kind of suck it up, unfortunately, and stand there with him.
yeah,
And he's like, nope, I'm good, and we left. And I
yeah,
was like, my dog, thank you, Jesus.
yeah.
But then, and it was so funny because even then it felt like the devil was like pulling a little bit, like, no,
Pulling
come
on your
back.
heartstrings. Yeah.
Because when
Like, oh,
we,
but Rob Zombie, you
well,
grew
we're
up.
walking
Ooh.
around, so we're on the outside of where they play, and we're walking back towards where we parked, and we're right behind the stage. We're not like backstage, but like outside the
Yeah,
arena. And we hear them start playing the song, like the number one song that we wanted to hear, right after that. And I was like, are you kidding me? And it's like there's like still a part of me that's like, dude, I really want to go see this, but I'm not going to, because
yeah,
eh, they're worshiping Satan at that point,
yeah,
unfortunately. And it's like, if you want to go to concerts and listen to music, I have not a problem with that. I love going to concerts. I'm a
yeah.
huge concert person. They have Gulf Coast Jam here in PCB. I've gone 3 or 4 years straight now. I think 3. And it's like there's never been anything satanic on stage. It's basically just like red, white, and blue and
Yeah.
country. That's basically all that it is.
Yeah.
And so like there's definitely things that go on that it's like because people are drinking way more than they should, but it's like I'm not taking part of that and they're not a part of my group. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm enjoy the concert.
Yeah. It's like
But
be in the world, not of the world, right?
right, right. It's like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take part in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, another reason why I go, and this is just kind of like it's weird for me to say this because I'm 21, but like there's like a dad part of me that goes because I know a lot of our youth students go to that
Mm,
concert, and a lot of them don't go with their parents; they go by themselves. And
yeah.
so it was actually kind of funny. This last year, two of our students walked up to me and Grace, and like we were just chilling. They didn't have a problem or anything. They were just coming by and saying hi, but it was kind of like I know they're not here with their parents; they're here by themselves. And so I would rather be there in the event something does go sideways. Because funny enough, a fight broke out. Two fights broke out that night, and we overheard law enforcement say that it was juveniles. And I didn't go get myself involved in the fight. I didn't do that.
Yeah.
But I walked over there to be like, is it one of my kids or is it some random teenager who got a hold of something he shouldn't have got a hold of? And thank the good Lord, it was I didn't know the kid, but it's one of those things like if you want to go to a concert, if it's not worshiping Satan, go for it. I don't care.
Yeah. Because I mean, when I was, I think 16, me and my dad went with a few of our friends to go to a August Burns Red concert. August Burns Red, they're a Christian metal band.
Yeah.
And then the Devil Wears Prada was opening for them, which I love the Devil Wears Prada so much. But this other band that was from like Scotland, it was like Bleed Within or something like that.
Mm,
Super secular,
yeah,
classic metal,
like death
whatever
metal.
they talk about. Yeah, like that type
Yeah.
of stuff. And at first I was like, whoa, that's a lot of cuss words. Like, because I was 16 too, and I'd never been to a concert like that. And so I'm like, this is insane. But then they got off the stage and the Devil Wears Prada came out, and I was like, I'm in this. Like, I'm going. So like I was in mosh pit, crowd surfing, all kinds of stuff like that. And it was amazing. And like now I have a metal alternative, two metal bands now that because I went to that concert, I saw them, loved them, listen to their music now, and now I have not all their music is like straight Christian worshiping God or whatever, but like it's not like doesn't just break your character and your thoughts down into bad
Kind of like
stuff. Like
Creed.
yeah, like Creed, yeah.
Because Scott Stapp, if you listen to Creed, like he's a diehard Christian, and he even went solo and did Christian albums for a while.
Yeah.
But if you listen to Creed music, it's like you can hear like the underlying like Christian message in the
Yeah.
music, and so, but I wouldn't say that Creed's a Christian band. I think they're
Yeah,
a rock
no.
band,
Yeah.
but like they
I
have
mean
like
that's
that.
like Switchfoot. Like
Right,
Switchfoot,
exactly.
they're
Prime
all
example.
Christians, but like they don't not all their music is just straight God. Some of it's just like, yeah, we're gonna conquer the world and we're gonna do it awesome. Like that didn't really make a whole lot of
Right,
sense. But
right.
like meant to live, like we were meant to live for so much more. Like that was one of the biggest like rock songs in the secular and Christian industry when that came out. Like
Hmm.
and then they were a Christian band. So like it like stuff like that, I think there's a fine line in between filling your brain with trash and being safe, basically. And so like even on the topic of that Kanye concert, that's what hit me the hardest was like if you did go to that concert as a Christian, all those things, would you have the strength to leave? And I was like, huh. Like that's a really interesting thought that like I started pondering and thinking about. I was like, if I went to a concert to a band that I loved and they started saying whatever, like would I be able to go? And like I
Yeah.
can't really put that to the test right now because I'm not going to see any bands or whatever. And most of the bands I like aren't that like bad anyway. But like the thought of like would I be able to leave that like almost kind of convicted me in a way because I'm like there are definitely times where I've listened to an album where a song comes up by like song 3 of the record and there's still like another 10. I'm like, it's fine. And then I keep listening to it. And now I bought the album and it's on a CD and there's a song that I skip. And then eventually if you don't skip the song or you don't whatever and you're just like, oh, it's fine. Like that's how the enemy sneaks in little by little, is
Yeah.
stuff like that. Or you watch a TV show and
Yeah, it's like he
episode 4,
doesn't.
when it starts to get good, right at the very end, something happens or they say something and you're like, oh, but it's such a good movie or such a good show. It's like,
Right.
it's just one
Right.
episode, and then it comes back up episode 7, and then season 2, episode 1, 2, and 3, and then you're like, yeah, but I'm already invested. And it's like, now this is like, then that's whenever you're supposed to start feeling that, and you're like, okay, now it's time to go, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so, like, for me, and I'll tell anybody this, I love a lot of Kanye's music, but a lot of his old stuff I don't listen to. His new stuff I don't really listen to, because both of those separate sections are very prideful, very
Yeah.
I'm better than everybody else type of stuff, because that's who he proclaims it.
That's literally
Like,
his
he
entire
just speaks
stage
that out.
persona.
But like Jesus is King and like Donda is one of my favorite albums literally of all time. Not one of my, like, I wouldn't say top 5, but my favorite rap album for sure. That's my favorite, like, of all time. And like, even that isn't all just Christian. A lot of it is like healing, and a lot of it is whatever. But like, if I'm listening to that all the time and there's no room for even not even listening to music at all, like, sometimes you just need to not listen to stuff. Like, if you were to listen to just secular for a month and then just worship for a month, I promise you, after listening to the worship for a month, you're going to feel infinitely better than the month before of
Yeah.
listening to the secular stuff. And so, I don't know. I feel like we went on a tangent there. I hope there's some good in what I just said.
Oh,
But
I think that there was a lot in there.
yeah,
It's so funny because we started this video on church hurt,
yeah,
and now it's like we're going through personal convictions, through music, through things of the world.
yeah,
Don't take part in things of the world. Which at the end of the day, it's all, I would say, Bible. At the end of the
yeah,
day, which, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm somebody's preacher or anything like that, but at the end of the day, the heart of the channel is to just talk about Jesus at the end of the
yeah,
day and having discussion on, like, what are your thoughts? I don't know. What's your thoughts?
yeah.
It's what this is for. So
I need to go back and finish watching. There was one I don't know if it was the only one you've done, where you were sitting in a chair and you had another buddy sitting in a chair.
yeah, that was my one on prosperity gospel with Lucas Alverson.
That's what it was. Yeah, I need to go back and finish watching that, because I started that the other day. We were in the car for like 20 minutes, I think, and then I turned it off because we went. Where were we? I don't remember. I'll go off on a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love what you're doing on here, and I think it's sick. I've been trying to do my own podcast stuff or whatever, but I get on tangents and I rabbit hole and stuff like that all the time. And so I usually have a hard time finding the time to sit down and do this stuff. So I'm glad I can be a part of it, and happy to see that you're doing it yourself.
Yeah, dude,
It's pretty
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's a ton of fun. Ton of fun. Thanks for coming on. You're
Yeah,
the first one to actually be on
absolutely,
the
dude.
video call version of this. So thanks for being a part of it. But yeah, we'll wrap this bad boy up. So hope you guys enjoyed me and Mr. Ryan's discussion. Once again, Ryan, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure
Yes,
having
sir.
you. Loved the conversation. Loved your wisdom at a ripe, what, you're 19, 18?
I'll be 19 in, what day is this today? The
July.
30th?
Yeah, 31st.
31st. In 7 days, I'll be 19.
Hey, happy early birthday,
August
brother.
7th. Thank you.
Happy early birthday. All right. Well, then, if you haven't already liked the video, haven't already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that and hit the bell. And because
In the link in bio. I'm sorry, I haven't done this in a long time.
please hit the hit
The like button.
Yeah, hit the like button.
The bell, the
subscribe
notification.
button, all the buttons. Hit all the buttons.
All of them.
All of them.
Except
Even
the
big
dislike button.
Not the dislike button. Don't hit that one. Ryan will find you.
No.
So
yeah.
But new videos dropping every Monday at noon Central Standard Time. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you guys next time on Theology Unfiltered. See y'all. All right.